Hello there, welcome to my first Warhammer 2 online battle. Now before we begin I must give a warning. If you're not up to date with Game of Thrones, I advise you avoid the comments section of this video because people may say some things. I'm not going to give any spoilers in the video unless you're on like the first series, but if you're worried about any spoilers, maybe come back to this video. So my army is led by Daenerys Targaryen, undercover in a brunette wig, on a star dragon who is staring at the camera. What a poser. So she's leading the army on her dragon, and of course we've got another dragon at her side. This is the Sun Dragon, so the fiery variant. And then all the way on the other side we've got the Moon Dragon. So we've got our 3 dragons in our KHALEESI army, of course. So safe to say we're going to have air superiority in this one. We're going to have plenty of mobility with that. My front line is the Unsullied, aka Spearmen. Not quite as a grandiose a title, but you know, Spearmen are Spearmen. They're my Unsullied, shut up. Of course Phoenix Guard would have made a better Unsullied, but they're far too expensive. I've got 3 dragons for Christ's sake, I can't afford all that. But then my front line, I've got 5 units of those. And then I've got some Dothraki archers. Yep, you heard it right. They're a very tidy looking version. I've got 3 units of those for all my ranged needs. And then I've got 2 units of Dothraki horsemen, otherwise known as Silverhelms. So that's my kind of Daenerys Stormborn army, sort of. You get the idea. We'll see how she matches up against this Dark Elf army, which has 2 units of Blackguard of Nagarond, a very strong anti-large infantry. Possibly the best anti-large spear unit in the game. We'll have to see. Phoenix Guard may have something to say about that. They look awesome as well, especially when you get their shadows to work properly. So we'll need to do something to try and get rid of them, because they could be very dangerous, especially to our dragons. He's got one of those on each end. So 2 units of those to watch out for. And then his kind of front line is 3 units of Black Ark Corsairs with handbows. So these are kind of half a ranged unit and half a melee unit. Not quite as good in melee as the normal Corsairs, of course, but they do have that ranged option. Then he's got a couple of units of Dark Shards with shields who are an armor-piercing missile unit. That shield going to give them an advantage when fighting other missile units, although they're a little bit shorter on the range. And protecting the back of his army, he's got 2 units of the average to good Dread Spears. And this army is being led by Malekith on his very own dragon. So a bit of a dragon off here, although I'm at a 3-to-1 advantage, so you know. Missiles coming in. Not sure who I'm aiming them at. Maybe his dragon or maybe his skirmishers. Dragon. I was aiming at the dragon, but most of them seem to be falling very short. Although they might be hitting these boys. Yes! Stray arrow kills for the win. So he's starting to move up now. He's got his lord out front for some reason. I'm moving up in formation. He's moving. Oh, he's got some Cold Run Riders here as well. I forgot about those. So 1 unit of cavalry for him. And there is a rule if you want to try this build out, is that you have to say Dracarys whenever you use a fire attack, because that's just the proper way. And the dragon won't listen otherwise, so you know. He now has less cavalry than he did 10 seconds ago, so that's a small victory in itself. Did a nice bit of damage actually. He's starting to move up on me here. He needs to get a little bit closer to get in range than I do to him. I'm shooting at his Dark Shards with shields, which is probably a bad idea. I should have gone for the Corsairs because they have no shield. His lord's over on the left. I'm going to send over my Moon Dragon to go and intercept, and I'm also going to send Daenerys herself. But of course this guy isn't stupid. He is not hanging around. He's pulling back. He does not want to fight 2 dragons on 1. He's moving up his Blackguard of Nagarond by themselves, just those 2 units, which is generally a bad call because, you know, 2 units on 5, but Blackguard of Nagarond are very, very tough. So I feel like he had a little bit of a plan here for just sending those 2 up. I thought maybe if I try and flank the Blackguard, he's going to shoot my units in the back while they do so. A bit more Dracarys here from my Star Dragon. And KHALEESI is riding. Moon Dragon coming in now as well. Obviously not the best fight for the dragon to be in there. I was just trying to hit them in the back a little bit and then get them out. He's got his general into my cavalry though. They've routed pretty quickly. And on this side, the cold ones have got into my cavalry and spears are coming after them. Trying to pull them away. Tried to use the dragon to help. So he's doing well at thwarting my cavalry. I'm going to move up on him now though and go for this flanking attack. Some of these dread spears are knocking around my dragons too. I've got one of those Blackguards wavering. They shouldn't hang around too much longer now that they're flanked. My princess, or you know, queen, is going a bit mad on these skirmishers, trying to get rid of them. Some of these Black Ark Corsairs getting into a dragon, not really the best idea. They would have been better off trying to take out my spearmen. My dragons are causing absolute havoc all over the place. Just flanked these other Blackguard here, but he's dropped a Blade Storm on one of my units. That is an absolutely brutal spell, and it has truly devastated this spear unit. They have been absolutely annihilated, and they are routing, rightly so. That spell is pretty horrible. Nice use of that there. Got some dragon on dragon action here in the skies. The Sun Dragon taking him on. Oh, bit of green Dracarys of his own. Looked like vomit, to be honest. His cold ones have gone mental, attacking my spearmen. He's getting behind my lines now. Oh, Murderous Prowess has just dropped for the Dark Elves. That means most of his army just got some pretty dangerous buffs and is going to make them even more efficient killers, so this is a problem for me. I'm going to try and seize this opportunity to try and get their general dead, because we may need it after that Murderous Prowess is dropped. Oh, Doppelganger Daenerys is thrown down with Malekith. Oh, pile drived him. Pile drived him. Awesome animation there. We've nearly got him dead. He's got a little bit of health left. My other dragon was sick on him when he was on the floor, I think, as well, just to add to the insult. Brought some of my cavalry back finally to get after their missiles. I actually make some kind of use of them because they haven't really done much. They got taken out straight away. Malekith goes down. He was no match for 2 dragons, but there's still a lot of Dark Elf units left, so he's not out the fight yet. Plenty of missiles to gun down my dragons with, and spears of course. My makeshift Unsullied being surrounded here. That's not good. They got Blackguard of Naggarond on one side and Dread Spears on the other. And at this point, things aren't looking too great for me. Most of my infantry is either surrounded or routed, so I don't have a lot left, and there's still one pretty good unit of Naggarond boys there. Still got my dragons though. They're taking a little bit of a beating now, but I'm trying to use them to get all these skirmishers and just to bounce between these units to keep them from firing too much and do a lot of damage, and trying to use that terror as well. Terror is of course a very useful trait with these mobile dragon units. These cold ones still causing problems for me. They're in my back line. They're eating my skirmishers alive, quite literally. Got some spears and stuff coming back. My cavalry coming back to try and save the day. These cold ones have been rampaging through my back lines, eating up my skirmishers. They're actually pricking their targets pretty well, considering they're not going after spearmen when they could be, because they've just gone feral and mental. My 3 dragons atop the hill absolutely wrecking their back line. All these missiles are being destroyed. I'm trying to ruin them to the point that they won't come back, which I think are pretty much done. I have to say this 3 dragon build is actually pretty awesome. It's kind of cool seeing them all flying around and just tearing things up. Not so fun for my spearmen though. They're still surrounded by Blackguard and Dread Spears. They're still hanging in there though, they're not routing. Fair play to them. They're holding pretty well, considering they're not the most expensive unit in the world. I just need them to hold on long enough till my dragons can get over. I finally got rid of those cold ones over here. My silver helms have made use of themselves. They got wiped out pretty early. They did pretty much nothing, my silver helms, until they returned after they were all pretty much half dead. But, you know, better than nothing. Trying to shoot these Blackguard and Naggarond in the back with my missile units that have returned as well. Just a little bit of damage. He's going to return a charge here though. Oh, that boy's not coming in for Christmas. He got absolutely destroyed. He gave it his all. He gave it his all. Bit more Dracarys coming in. My dragons are here now though. One of them's just breathed fire on the other one. I've just managed to probably rout my own spear unit here with that. Probably not the best move, but whatever. We're wavering one of theirs as well, so it's fine. It's fine. But now, it's spearmen against dragons. Spearmen, of course, being a weakness for dragons, just as cavalry is a weakness for missile units. Like so. Oh, literally that entire line just went. Just gone. Like 2 men left. Got them gone, pretty much. Dragons are coming in now. My enemy made a fatal mistake here. He grouped all his units up into a small little pile, which means easy terror causing for my dragons. He should have kept them apart, really. They would have had a much better chance just fighting the dragons as single units, but that's going to cost him the battle. KHALEESI are Unsullied and the Dothraki Pretenders have won this day. How did we do? Dragons, of course, doing plenty of damage with those. Very nice. Spearmen, not doing so much there. They were mostly just a holding force till my dragons were ready to kill everything. My archers did okay. Well, some of my cavalry came back and did alright. His missile units didn't really do too much. Maybe he was firing at my dragons more though, because that's obviously his biggest danger, so he's probably using most of his ammo on that. These Blackguard Corsairs really should have been gotten into melee. Blackguard and Naggarond, of course they did well because they're absolute beasts, and his cold ones, and Malekith did good too. So, a pretty fun battle. I actually really enjoyed this build. I tend not to bring that many flying units. I'm not a big flying unit person, but this was actually pretty damn fun. And I wanted to do kind of a themed online battle like I used to do on Warhammer 1. I did a couple. I did like a Savage Orc build and a Wraith build. And I only really did those 2. I don't know why I didn't do more because it's actually quite a fun idea. So I'll probably do more of them. This is like my Game of Thrones build. I thought it worked quite well with the High Elves army because they have all the appropriate units for it. So I thought I'd try it out. It was pretty fun. I tried it in a few different battles. This was probably the best one of the bunch. It didn't always work. Sometimes I did lose. But it was always pretty entertaining. I recommend trying it out if you're a Game of Thrones fan. You could make a KHALEESI army in your campaign, or online of course. As for the battle itself, I think my opponent actually had a pretty good build for taking out my army because he had plenty of anti-large spearmen and lots of missiles to gun all my dragons down with. And I'm pretty sure one unit of the Blackguards could take down a dragon if they were able to get hold of it. And if he'd focus fired all his missiles on one of my dragons, that would have done a ton of damage too. So a combination of these things and the fact he had a dragon himself, he could have definitely killed, at least killed one of my dragons. And to be fair, 2 of them actually were nearly dead by the end of the fight, so he nearly got there. And I think another fatal mistake was that he didn't use his Black Ark Corsairs in melee at all. He just kept them back as a missile unit for some reason. If he was going to do that, he should have just brought more Dark Shards and saved himself some money. He brought Black Ark Corsairs, should have thrown them into melee. They probably would have chopped through my spearmen pretty well. Could have got rid of my infantry a little bit sooner, allowing his Blackguard perhaps to focus on trying to take down my dragons, because they were just absolutely rampaging through his army. But I mean, it's no easy feat to stop 3 dragons anyway. That's the whole point, they're dragons. As for me, definitely should have managed my cavalry better, didn't really use them well at all, and I let his cavalry run all over me. Maybe should have tried to gun them down with missiles a bit more or get one of my dragons after them, but a valiant fight nonetheless. Daenerys Stormborn has won here this day. I thank you for watching, I hope you've enjoyed this. I'll see you in the future.